Hey y'all, how you doing? So today is Sunday, May the 17th, and it is time for our weekly reading into the week ahead. I hope this week was a good one for you, and I hope our reading last week really helped to guide you in your thoughts and actions this week to help you achieve your goals and get yourself on the right path. Last week I used the Lenormand cards. This week I'm using the tarot, and I'm specifically using the Rider-Waite Tarot. It's probably one of the most famous decks out there. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the best. This particular deck is the first deck that I ever owned. I got this deck back in 1991 at a bookstore. It was Walden Books in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Y'all have heard this story before. My Aunt Ernestine bought me this deck in 1991. This is the first deck and the oldest one in my collection. So I'm just shuffling the cards. Okay. I think that's enough. Then I'm going to cut them into 3 stacks and put them back together. And now I'm just going to randomly cut them into 4 stacks. Let's see, can y'all see? 1, 2, 3. I should have angled that camera a little bit better, but let's see if I pull the table back. Okay, so we have our 4 cards. I'm going to turn them over. Now, I don't read reversal, so if you see me turn them around like I just did, that's the reason that I am doing this. Okay, let me look at these cards. Okay, so the first card we have is the Lovers. Can you see that? So our theme this week is choices. So what I'm asking you to do is to spend some time today meditating on the choices that you've made in life, the choices that have led you to where you are now in life, and how those choices have steered you either toward your goals, dreams, and desires, or away from them. This is a good time to make better choices. This is a good time to consult a professional reader, root worker, or just get some advice from someone who is older and wiser in some way in order to help you make better choices. The interesting thing about this card, and I'm hoping I can point this out to you, is, let's see here. Here we have the man. He represents the consciousness in ourselves. And the woman represents our subconscious. And the angel represents the cosmic consciousness or the God consciousness. And if you look closely, I can't get any closer to this thing. If you look closely, the woman or the subconscious is looking at the God consciousness. And the man is looking at the woman. That talks about our connection to spirit, our connection to greater powers. We connect to the all through our subconscious. It gets messages, impressions, information comes to us from the God consciousness, or our guides, our spirits, our ancestors, whatever you want to call that, angel, gets filtered through our subconscious to our consciousness. And the man looking at the woman tells me that if you don't meditate, this is also a good time to initiate a meditation practice. Now, by that, I don't mean you have to sit down on the floor in the lotus position. And meditation is different things to different people. For some of you, it might mean sitting on the floor and lighting some candles and incense, doing some deep breathing. For other people like me, meditation takes the form of drawing. I like to draw. I just get into that creative state of mind. Sometimes You've seen me on Instagram. I'll show voodoo dolls or doll babies that I make, and they're not really meant to represent anyone or anything in particular. I call that keeping my hands busy. For other people, meditation may take the form of cooking. You know, they get in the kitchen, they start mixing things. I know me, I love making biscuits. I love making biscuits from scratch. That is another form of meditation for me. So get in touch with your creativity. What is meditation for you? Start practicing a little bit of meditation so that the God consciousness can speak to you through your subconsciousness, filter into your consciousness, and help guide you one way or another towards whatever it is that you want, the life that you want to live. Now, the next card we have here is the Empress. Can y'all see that? And if you look on this little pillow right here, a good way to remember her, see that mirror? That looks kind of like a hand mirror. That's the planetary symbol for Venus. And while the Lovers represents love, like, you know, the love between two lovers, or it can be the love between two friends, the Empress is more like a universal love. The love of God, the love of a mother for a child, the love of a child for a mother, unbreakable, unconditional love. So what this card is telling me is, let yourself be guided by love this week. I want you to think of someone you just don't like. And I'm sure there's someone you just don't like. It can be someone in your life. It can be someone that you know casually. It can be someone in the media. I have made no qualms about my dislike for Donald Trump. But what I want you to do is, I want you to sit down and try to find 3 things about this person that you can find likable. Just try to practice more universal love. Because I'm not saying, again, if this person you don't like has hurt you in some way, that you can never forgive them. I'm not saying you have to forgive them now. We have to work through our grief. This is just a little exercise to practice universal love. And it's like a snowball effect. You start small and you get bigger, because it's easy to love the people who cared for us and nurtured us. It's easy to love, our mothers if they were mothering. I know there's a lot of people who don't like their mother or had abusive relationship. Some people it's just easier to love. It's hard to love people you don't like. It's hard to love mean people. It's hard to love people that you just don't like. I know there's someone in my life now that I see on occasion in my day job who we had a disagreement, and I'm a human being. I have flaws, a couple of them, and he's tried to speak to me a couple times, and I've just completely ignored him. So this week I'm going to try, if I see him, I'm going to try to practice a little bit of universal love. I'm going to just, in this moment, I can forgive what happened. I can let it go. And I'm going to practice more universal love. I can't say I'm going to do the same thing about Donald Trump. It'll be really hard to find 3 things about him I like. So the next card we have is the 4 of Pentacles. And this shows a man sitting on, I don't know what he's sitting on actually. Looks like a block of cement. He has pentacles at his feet, one on his hand, and he's grasping one at his chest. This card is all about greed. This card is all about the hoarding of resources. This is a card of selfishness, which is the opposite of universal love. Because when you're practicing universal love, you are a giving person, not just in love. You are giving with your time, you're giving with your knowledge, you're giving with your resources. So an attitude of greed, of looking out for number one, of not helping your neighbor, of not, helping those less fortunate, that's going to really work against you this week when you try to practice more universal love and harmony. So the last card we have here is Temperance. And here we see an angel dressed in white. He has 2 cups and he's mixing water between them, kind of like a bartender. And if you look at his feet, he has 1 foot on land and 1 foot on water. And Temperance, first and foremost, is a card of balance. This angel has to really balance those cups to get that water flowing between him. He's got 1 foot on land, which represents the mundane, and 1 foot in the water, which represents the spiritual. And that's what we as witches, voodoos, hoodoos, Wiccans, magical people really aspire to. Because while we live in the world of man, we also navigate a world of spirit. So we're often sort of in between. And many, many times, one realm can get more energy than the other. And what we want to do is bring these two into balance. We want to balance the mundane and the magical. So overall, what the cards are telling us to do is meditate on our choices, what has led us towards our goals, what has moved us away from them. Practice creativity, spend time being creative, spend time in meditation, look for signs and opens that will guide you on your path. And while you're doing that, you're going to want to practice more universal love. Think of 3 things to like about someone you do not like. Do not participate in greed and selfishness. And at the end of the week, you will have had many opportunities to find a balance between the mundane and the magical. And that is your tarot reading for this week. I hope you learned something here today. I hope you found some guidance and some inspiration. And I'd love to hear from you how this reading helped you in the week to come. So until next time, I'll talk to you all later and have a great day.